Selecting a wheelchair and all of its features is an important and often difficult decision. After all, you need to be satisfied that the one you have chosen is the most functional and comfortable for you. Investing time and effort in the setup process may eliminate problems from developing down the track. Trial a range of chairs with a variety of features in environments that will suit your lifestyle until you're confident you've made the right choice.
The selection of the rear wheel tyre will be determined by where and how you use your wheelchair. If you're an outdoor person, then a pneumatic tyre is probably going to be best. So a pneumatic tyre is basically your tyre with a tube inside that you blow air into. The pneumatic tyre will absorb some of the impact of the ground, so when you push in the chair will actually cushion some of that impact. A solid tyre is considered maintenance free. Most people will select it purely on the basis of that. However, if all else is equal in a wheelchair, a pneumatic tyre is going to be the better performing tyre for you. You may select the solid tyre if you're not going outdoors too much, and therefore you don't want the trouble of having to consider tyre pressure and the maintenance behind a pneumatic tyre. Front casters come in different shapes and sizes. You'll notice that they come in different thicknesses, also different treads. Generally speaking, the smaller the front caster, the better the turning circle. The larger the front caster, the better for outdoor mobility. If you're a really active wheelchair user, you'll probably find that you'll select the smaller front caster because your wheelchair skills are going to be a little bit better. So when you're going across terrain, you'll probably find that you'll bunny hop or lift up the front wheels to accommodate some of those obstacles. Most people will opt to have a smaller diameter in the front caster so their turning circle's quite good, but a thicker tread so you can go over some of those obstacles a little bit better. You can get a solid front caster, you can also get a pneumatic front caster. The pneumatic front caster tends to absorb some of that impact, but does come with the maintenance where you're going to have to pump them up. Most people select the solid front caster with a pneumatic rear wheel. Solid front casters, generally speaking, will roll better on flatter surfaces. There is the option of a soft roll caster, which is a combination of a solid and a pneumatic front caster. There's no maintenance, you don't need to pump them up, and they do roll quite nicely. So when considering your front caster, you can also consider your caster fork. Now you can have a single-sided fork, or you can have a double-sided fork. Aesthetics is probably the main reason why you may select one over the other. The single-sided fork does have the advantage of when you're transferring it in and out of your vehicle, you can move it across your lap and not have it interfere with your car, side door, or also your body. Secondly, you can also get suspension in your front casters. They're known as frog's legs. The further forward the rear wheel is, then the tippier the chair becomes. So one way to combat that tippiness is to have anti-tip wheels put onto the chair. So anti-tip wheels are small little wheels that sit in between the rear wheels. The whole purpose of them is to stop the chair from tipping backwards. In the early stages of a new injury, you may consider the anti-tip wheels while you're learning your wheelchair skills. So being able to tip back and know that you've got the security of those anti-tip wheels is an added benefit. Anti-tip wheels are adjustable, so we're able to use the telescopic frame to be able to position them in various different positions, but also various different heights as well. There are a couple of downsides to having anti-tip wheels. If you're pushing along and you need to get up a curb, then obviously you're going to be limited as to how high that curb is that you can climb. Secondly, if the anti-tip tube is not removable, then the metalwork's going to remain on the chair. So if you're transferring the chair across your lap in a vehicle, you're going to have to contend with the metalwork. The hands and shoulders are not designed to push our bodies around. So in this case, we need to look at the best possible position for our rear wheel, but also the best position for our wrists to be in when we're pushing a wheelchair. The standard hand rim is an aluminium hand rim with a gap in the middle. Now this gap can be set wide or it can be set in a narrow position. We can also rubber coat or put a grip across this hand rim. Some people prefer that, especially in the wet. Others may choose to wear gloves. An ergonomic hand rim allows more surface contact with the pad of your thumb, keeping it in a more neutral position. The benefit behind that is that when you go to push the rear wheel, you have more surface contact, keeping your wrist in a neutral position. Therefore, it's a more efficient stroke, but also putting less wear on the muscles on the inside of your thumb. You're going to have to try the various options. You'll either like an ergonomic hand rim or you won't. The choice is yours. The purpose of a wheelchair brake is to lock the wheels in a stationary position. You may choose to put the brakes on when you're transferring in and out of a wheelchair, or when you're on a small incline and you need to stop for whatever reason. If you're doing a sliding transfer, you want to make sure that the brake is sitting underneath the seat rail so it doesn't interfere with your side-to-side transfer. Brakes can be a push to lock brake, which means if I put a downward pressure on a brake, it will lock the wheel. Alternatively, you can have the reverse, which is called a pull to lock. So if I was to pull up the brake, it would also lock the wheel. Scissor brakes actually hide underneath the seat rail, and the whole purpose of a scissor brake is to be completely clear from the seat rail. Side guards are also known as clothing guards. There's a couple of practical purposes with side guards. Number one, they protect you and your clothes from dirt and grime. Number two, it will stop your clothes interfering with your rear wheel. Some people will also use the side guards to help locate their body back into a chair when they're transferring. You can also use it as a hip block, so if we were to pad the inside, we can control your hips so you're not sliding from side to side in a wheelchair. You can have side guards with the armrests attached onto them, or you can have them separate. They can be made out of cloth, aluminium, carbon fibre. There's a range of different options with side guards. If you do side transfers, it's important that you either remove the side guard or make sure that the side guard is actually in profile with the rear wheel. The reason for this is you don't want the side guard to catch your thigh or your bottom as you're transferring on the way through, because if it does, it can lead to skin breakdown issues.